Hi there, welcome to another edition of the Wayrider Chronicles. My name is Kim. Hi everybody, this is going to be about telecommunications. Where I live, which is the Canton Ticino in Switzerland, we have been struck by tremendous summer storms. One a week ago in another area of the canton, and last weekend a area which is actually more serious than the first one, because there's been, since Saturday night or Sunday morning, a complete cut-off of communication. This weather event happened in what they call Alto Valmaggio. Valmaggio is the big Valmaggio, major valley, if you want to do direct translation into English, is the valley which essentially Canton Ticino is divided into two parts, divided by a mountain in the middle. I live in where Lugano is, the largest city, is one part, and there's another part which is called, the major city is Locarno. From Locarno you go up, typical Alpine Valley, of which it's not the only one, but it's the largest one from that point of view, because it's called Valmaggio. There is another one which is bigger, but anyway, I won't go into all the details. The problem was about halfway up this valley, without getting complicated, a major bridge was washed away. What it has meant, this bridge, engineers are probably looking at it now, saying foolishly, not only carried the road, but all the communication, which water and of course power lines and stuff like that they lost. The point of this video is not to talk about this particular disaster, which at this particular moment in time, 3 people lost their lives and a fourth person is still missing. Is to talk about the lack of communication. This reminds me of Cyclone Gabrielle. So we're going to go right on the other side of the world to New Zealand, or right down under, as they call it. In February 2022, there was a cyclone event on the east coast of New Zealand, which again, excess water, storm, washed away all means of communication, including the 2 major fiber optic cables that connected this area, the east coast, called Gisborne, of New Zealand with the rest of New Zealand. They were cut off. My parents live there, and it's something very similar. The cyclone hit, I can't remember the exact date, either the Saturday or the Sunday. We couldn't get, the first communication we had was about 3-4 days later. The reason being is something which a lot of people are not aware of. The reason is that mobile phone network, because everybody says, oh, well, mobile phone network should work. No, it doesn't. No electricity equals no mobile phone network. Why? Because those towers, which you see all over the place, and the other things spotted across all the buildings, they require power to run. No power, they have backup. The major towers probably have backup battery systems, at least they do in Africa, but they don't last forever. They last for a couple of hours, and once they're flat, that's it. There is a more important issue to do with once power is out, is that in the last 20 to 30 years, especially in, let's say, the last 20 years, the famous fixed line network, which in the old days would work, didn't matter if all the power went out, your old, the dial-up, the one they used to, rotary dial phone, would still work. It didn't require huge backups of power, it's still connected. I'm not sure technically how it was possible. I believe it works on very feeble current, and it doesn't need generator power or normal power to run. They've all been replaced. All those fixed lines have been replaced by, guess what? The internet. and the internet runs on what? Power. Once power's gone, you lose all communication. And it's a major issue. How did the New Zealanders get around it? Because the fibre optic cables were not connected for about, at least a month, if not longer. It was very, very difficult. They all suddenly realized, oh, Starlink, the famous Elon Musk satellite network, mobile network that helped the Ukrainians, which had just started helping the Ukrainians once the Russians had knocked out their telephone network. They all signed up for it. So we got communication, mobile communication via the internet, WhatsApp and all the rest of it, as I said, after about 4 or 5 days. But it was being routed via the Elon Musk Starlink satellite network. I would not be surprised if people here may start to think along those lines. As a sort of like a final thing on this, back in 2012, spent extensive time in Zimbabwe. Their power is a real big problem. They have what they call load shedding, the infrastructure doesn't work, power stations go offline, power drops out all the time, sometimes up to 24 hours a day. But the mobile phone network keeps running. How do they do it? Those big mobile phone towers, they have a generator, they have a diesel generator. When the power goes off, those generator kicks in. I always remember where I was staying in Harare, outside, but from the balcony in the apartment I was living in, you could see a big mobile phone network. And there was a guard there with a gun. Because everybody knew if those power lines went down, there was no way of communicating with anybody anymore. Interesting. So, people should realize, no power, no network, no communications. So people, as shown behind me, no power equals no communication. It's quite a thing to think about. See you guys.